So there's a lot of videos helping sprouts and casuals learn some things before starting to raid, but I feel like they miss some things, so here's some things that they don't tell you. You suck and you will fail. Listen, before you say I'm elitist and click off, it's okay to suck and fail because that's how we all start off. Going from casual content to raiding is a scary thing for a lot of people, and you will mess up a lot because that's just how prog works. When progging a fight, you will die to every mechanic imaginable and fail DPS checks, but that's okay as long as you learn from it. No one is expected to be perfect without experiencing the raid firsthand. An example of this is like a current sprout who just finished the game's MSQ wants to try ultimate, which are locked at 70, 80, 90, and 100 depending on which fight you choose. So the job that you play and go in as will be very different depending on which level it is. And also the mechanics from the different fights will be very differently opposed to what you're used to. So you're expected to die and learn a lot. So please don't be too hard on yourself if you mess up because we've all been there. We've all made the same mistakes. We've all learned our lessons and that's how we were able to move and grow as a player. But with that being said, it's still okay to be a little bit hard on yourself to give yourself motivation to improve. But you don't want to be so hard on yourself that it depresses you or discourages you from the fight. But speaking of improving, I want to talk about learning and experience. Learning is watching guides, videos, toolboxes, or simming. Experience is first-hand knowledge that you're getting through the raid itself, actually going in and playing and wiping. There's a lot of ways to learn or get the experience that you're looking for from streaming, recording your own prog, seeing how you perform, and seeing the mistakes and movements you make is much better than looking at how someone else plays or has cleared. You want to look at yourself. There's also looking at your logs and comparing them and also checking out XIV analysis to see if there's things you can improve on. There's also simming to check how to do the mechanics and practice them before getting to them. And then there's just asking people or asking others, there's the balance. There's also a ton of other raiders that you can ask for help. And then before you say anything about FF logs, it's a very helpful tool that's just besides your 0 to 100 number. There's a lot of things that you can learn from it, such as buffs, how you died, along with midding, healing, and a lot of other important stuff. So I would recommend using that. So don't get hung up on your number and just learn how to do the mechanics correctly is generally the way to go, because most raiders will prefer to play with someone who can consistently do the mechanics with okay damage versus someone who does a lot of damage and can't do the mechanics consistently and just dies every single time. Also, the most important thing is having the openness and willingness to learn and being willing to be able to take criticism to get the experience you need to improve. But don't confuse learning from experience because a lot of people do that. An example is people who have simmed the mechanic think that is now their prog point, when in fact it is not their prog point because they have not seen it in game. Because they play differently out. So I would please highly recommend not to confuse these and get the experience you need in order to prog and clear. Now with that being said, focus on yourself, on how to improve yourself and finding the best ways that you learn, because we are all different and we all learn very differently. So try to not put too much pressure if you're not making prog, or if you're having a hard time with a mechanic, or you're having a hard time with a phase, because it's how you learn. I've seen way too many people give up on themselves because they are either too hard on themselves, they're upset that they're not progging as fast, or they put themselves under pressure. Like they keep adding pressure to themselves and then they just build up and then they just quit. So don't put too much pressure on yourself and don't compare yourself to other people because their learning and speed and experience will be different from yours. So stay focused on your prog and clearing the fight because it is you. It is no one else. There's a lot of toxic people in the raiding community, but that's why we have a blacklist both in the game and mentally. You can just block them, or you could just remember the name and then just remember if they're good or bad, see if they are improved or not. Also, the truth is that every raider has a little bit of toxicity in them, but we just need to know where the line is. It's okay to say to yourself if so and so died because they died to X Mex, but if you do that, if you die and you make a mistake, you have to say that about yourself. There's no double standards, okay? If you fuck up, you say you suck. If they fuck up, you laugh and say they suck. Either way, equality. Anyways, but with that being said, there is a line. Just the other day, there was someone who crossed that line who was in one of my parties, directing it towards one of the healers, saying, "This is why I have you blacklisted," which is not something you should be saying to someone, and it's just rude. There are tons of terrible people you'll meet inside of playing FF, inside of raiding. It doesn't matter if it's raiding or not, but there are people. In raiding, we have parsers who ruin clear parties or clear for ones. We have misogynistic, racist people. We have rude people. We have prog liars. We have a lot of different people who are very toxic in the community, but you just can't let them ruin your time raiding, because you could just blacklist them or you could just avoid raiding with them. But for every toxic raider, there's 7 helpful raiders. There's always going to be helpful people around in PFs and statics and pseudo statics, and in NA we have the ulti project as well. There are tons of options to help you prog and clear the fight. There are tons of people you can meet in PF who are very nice and around your prog point. There's just a ton of people who have also cleared the fight and like to go help people prog, help people clear, help people farm. So don't get discouraged because there's one bad apple every now and then. So just have fun, enjoy the fight, and just know that there are tons of helpful people out there. And then finally, just play for fun. This game and these raids are not impossible. So as long as you study, I believe that anyone can clear an ultimate, anyone can clear savage. Just play the jobs that you actually like to play. There's so many people who get trapped inside this, oh, I need to play meta, and it makes it unfun. It's a game. It's meant to be fun. Play what you like. Make friends. Enjoy the fights. Because I personally believe that ultimate fights are the best content to come out in this game. And I will continue to enjoy this game and enjoy these fights and help people clear and reprog and prog myself and do lots of things. Because these fights and raids are some of the best content that this game has to offer. And I personally believe that everyone should give it a try. Anyways, see ya.